what's beautiful about this series is that it's building a muscle. Like leadership, we've got to be honest about this. Leadership isn't just like a moment. It's a muscle. You have to build it. And so inviting women to come back every couple of months to like fine tune, to shape, to guide, to ask questions, to be vulnerable, to like celebrate you, that's worth it.
Welcome back to In Good Company with the Greater Raleigh Chamber. Today's conversation is about confidence, it's about clarity, and it's about choosing to lead boldly, especially in moments that require courage and conviction. The Greater Raleigh Chamber's professional Women's Luncheon series has long been a space for connection and growth, and this year's series brings a powerful theme to the forefront, leading boldly. With 4 distinct areas, breakthroughs, outcomes, leadership, and development, the series challenges professional women to step into their leadership with intention and impact. I'm joined today by Jes Averhart, speaker, entrepreneur, and author, and this year's host of the Chamber's Professional Women's Luncheon. Jes will share how she's become involved with the Chamber, why this bold series matters so deeply to her, and what she's already experiencing alongside women participating in the journey. Jes, I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you. This is a pleasure.
Oh my gosh, I love this. But kick us off, girl. Can you share a bit about your background? How did you first get connected with the Greater Raleigh Chamber, and what drew you to the Professional Women's Luncheon series?
Oh boy. Okay, so it's a 3-parter. Let's see if we can run through all these. So my background is varied, which I think most of your audience can relate to. Like if you looked at my resume or my logo soup, if you will, like all the different stops I've had along the way, it's been an interesting journey. And so just highlights. I was in finance at General Electric, so I was a financial analyst at GE. I left there because corporate wasn't totally my vibe, right? As young, and I was like, I'm not into this. So then I went nonprofit, right? And I started like thinking about how to give back to the world and what that all meant, and found myself in a series of really beautiful and fortunate events led by women, other women who are a little bit further along, who invited me in to say, hey, I think there's an opportunity you would be great for. Give it a shot. I think this is where you are in your career, and it fits both this corporate and nonprofit mindset that you have. And at that point, I was invited to be an operations manager and producer for HBCU football classics and basketball all-star games in Ohio with the Bengals, the Browns, and the Cavs. And then I came to North Carolina about 20 years ago with that experience and sort of love of sports, love of people, love of, partnerships, and I didn't know what to do. So this is a segue into the second question, which is how did I get involved in the Chamber? When I arrived here in North Carolina, I literally was in my office looking around like, what do I do here? Like, no one knows me. I'm not really into hockey. Sorry for all my Hurricanes fans. But like, I didn't know how to fit my sports and entertainment background into this market. But I loved it and I knew I was good at it. So I did 3 things. I did a lot of research in advance. And I found Harvey Schmidt at the Raleigh Chamber of Commerce. And again, this was like 20 years ago. Ships in the night, right? I sent these letters out to high-profile business leaders in the Raleigh area and said, would you meet with me? Just want to talk about my background. I'm a 4th-generation entrepreneur, so I knew the Chamber had to be on my list. And this Harvey Schmidt guy was the president. So I was like, let's give it a shot. Of all the letters I sent, emails in this case, Harvey was the only one that responded. And I sat down with him. He gave me 30 minutes. We went almost an hour. He made phone calls while I was there in person in his office. It was the most human and sweet experience that I had since I had been down here, and fruitful. And from that point on, right, it really led to my business trajectory in this market. So the Raleigh Chamber, I owe a lot to the Raleigh Chamber for getting me kicked off business-wise here.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so what really drew you to the Professional Women's Luncheon?
I'm a woman and I'm a professional.
Check.
And all the things I just said, all these various milestones, I know that my experience has been unique. It hasn't been a straight line. And so if I get a chance to stand in front of, which by the way is a privilege, anytime you get to use your voice and you can impact women, that's a gift. And so the invitation came my way because I am a public speaker and I do talk about women's interests in my work now because I'm the creator of Reinvention Road Trip, and that's a product really that supports women in many ways, helps them through their transitional professional stages. So when I got that invitation, I thought, okay, these are my people, frankly. This is my group. Like, if there could be in front of any audience, this is the one I wanted to be in front of.
I love it. Well, you're preaching to the choir over here. So let's talk about this year's series, though, because it's built around 4 different pillars: breakthroughs, outcomes, leadership, and development. And I leave that pause there because a lot of people like to lump leadership and development as one.
Yeah,
but those are the 4 pillars.
Yeah.
Why was it important to you that this series be structured as a journey rather than a one-time conversation?
Well, because we have a million one-time conversations. You get a hit on Instagram and you get a one-time, feel-good quote. You listen to a podcast like this and you get a one-time feel-good thing. And you maybe in the car and you're not writing it down and you may not go back to it. You're on to the next. What's beautiful about this series is that it's building a muscle. Like leadership, we've got to be honest about this. Leadership isn't just like a moment. It's a muscle. You have to build it. And so inviting women to come back every couple of months to like fine tune, to shape, to guide, to ask questions, to be vulnerable, to like celebrate you, that's worth it. Like that is the sticky stuff. And you want this, about this, you want the sticky stuff in life. You don't want just that one-time hit because it doesn't necessarily serve you. And my goal with this series is to serve the woman that they want to be, serve the woman they have in their mind. And so we need to do that over time and together.
Yes.
Over time and together.
Well, and I love that it's over time because sometimes those one-hit wonders, they are great. They are inspirational. You love it. You go. And then you go back to real life. Your kids are screaming. Your job is demanding. And you've already forgotten everything you just learned for the day.
100%.
Or it gets stuffed in a folder on the shelf somewhere. So you're bringing it back up continuously, telling them, revisit, let's keep going.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really incredible. I would love to hear from your perspective, why is leading boldly such an important message right now, both personally and professionally? And I would love to know, what does that mean to you?
Boldly for me simply means using your voice. And I mean using your voice. So like the quote that every room I'm in, I'm going to say it, so I'm going to say it here, is that the room is better because you're in it. Yeah. But the room is only better if you're in it, if you're using your voice. You have to say something. Yes. Just because you're there doesn't mean that you've left an impact, that you've left an impression, that people got the best out of you, your lived experience. Like you're sitting here and you have a unique walk. You have a unique lived experience. So do I. And if we go into spaces and we don't share what we know based on our vantage point, boy, that room really missed out, right? Like that's unfortunate for them. But they can't make us talk. They can't tell us to step forward instead of shrink back. So boldly is like owning your center of brilliance, owning your gift, knowing what they are, being clear about that, and then rocking out, like push forward, like be in the space.
Take another step.
Take the space up, like expand into your space. So bold is a muscle and it is an action. And I think we talk a lot, but we need to start putting that thing in action.
I love it.
Yeah.
My girl Erin Gallagher says hype woman is both a noun and a verb.
I love that. Yes.
And so that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from bold. It's a noun and a verb. Yes, I love it. Okay, when you think about the women who are participating in this series, what are the shifts in their mindset or their confidence that you're hoping to see when they complete it?
Clarity. I think just to sum it up, if we're thinking like one-liners, I just think that clarity, well, first of all, clarity is my love language, just in life, like in my personal relationships with my son, like, am I clear about like my role in this moment, what I need you to do, what you need me to do? So clarity is my love language, but I think clarity is also just the thread to confidence. When you're clear about how you move and what core values you stand on and what the expectations are to meet for yourself and for others, you can move confidently. It's when you don't have that sense of, crystal clear next steps that you start to shrink a little bit and you lack the confidence. It's not rocket science, in my opinion. It's understanding what do I need in this moment to be able to step boldly, to step with more confidence, and to step with clarity.
Yeah. And you've had a chance to engage with participants already. What have you observed or what have you experienced that's really affirmed the value of this series so far?
Well, they're their own little group. It was real clear after session 1 that
More clarity.
These women, yeah, there it is, more clarity. These women are glad to be there. The energy is wild. I was so excited about session 2 because after session 1, like people lingered, the energy, the conversation was really high. You know, when you fill a room, these women were just like on 12, and I enjoyed them so much. And so I think it's not just about what I'm delivering because I'm providing content and outline. It's what they're it's that they're just like rocking out together. They're bringing the value.
Yeah.
I'm just providing the guidance, which is perfection. That's if I'm doing my job right, that's how it should look.
I always say, like, when I'm coaching and when I'm on stage, I always feel like I'm getting so much more in return.
Yes.
And so I'd love to ask you, like, what have you personally taken away from hosting these conversations with the women across different industries and, you know, different stages of their lives and careers?
Yeah. Well, we could talk about that for a while because there's lots of real examples of this. There's a woman who is now a sponsor of the series, but is now going to be coming on our second cup circle, which we do once a month. She's talking about perimenopause because I mentioned it in the talk. I had something about perimenopause, and like the whole room
Everybody's
was like,
I'm in perimenopause.
Oh, it was that big like thing, and I was like, oh wait, hold on. And so I grabbed her at the end, and she said, "Girl, I'm expanding my business." And I said, "Would you come on and speak?" So she's doing that for me. Then she became a sponsor of the chamber. Like the way in which when we talk about networking, it's just the way in which if you just extend yourself into a relationship, and that's just one example. But the coffees, the things that I'm hearing and learning in real time, when you have the opportunity to stand in front of like several hundred women for an hour and a half, you learn a ton about what those several hundred women are thinking about in the moment. Mm-hmm. Because just because imposter syndrome was a big problem 2 or 3 years ago doesn't mean it's top of mind for these women today. I mean, they're still thinking about imposter syndrome, but maybe it's something more like burnout. Maybe it's something more about like the political environment. Who knows?
Right.
But this is where you get a chance to hear what's really on their mind.
And so for you, your takeaways are like the networking is super important. It's adding for both the attendees, for you. Any other personal takeaways?
I just think that these women have everything that they need, and it's really fun to watch them excavate that in 90 minutes, and that we can do that anytime. We don't need I love the chamber, and I love that they provide this like container, but we can do that anywhere, right? We can do that anywhere, and I think that this is proof of that.
I love that. Amazing. So for someone who might be considering attending one of these lunches, what do you hope that they'll walk away with after being a part of the series?
My hope is that they recognize that they have the things that they need and that they don't have to walk into this room looking for them all the time. Like, if I can be honest, the self-help industry, this billion-dollar self-help industry that we all plugged into, sort of creates the space where you're constantly needing to find a thing because you're not enough or you don't have it or you need a breakthrough. And I get that because we all are looking for that next level up. But I think that we undervalue what we already have with us and within us, and that when this series is over, I want these women to sit up a little straighter. I want them to like use their voice in a loud way, an unapologetic way, and I want them to move in a way that feels like really honest to who they are. And because they know they have that clarity, going back to that clarity, they shouldn't leave this series with more questions than answers. They should leave this series with some understanding and maybe being rooted in a new way.
Yep.
That would be a gift to me.
One of the things, if I'm ever on the fence of like, do I want to attend? Do I not want to attend? I want to know about the vibe. And you said there's a lot of high energy, but just fill me in. Like, if I'm a newcomer here, what's the vibe of these series? What am I walking into?
Yes. Well, I think the first thing is like, where is it at? You know, like you always want to know, like, am I going to be in a cool space? The chamber does an amazing job of like making sure that the actual physical environment is like top notch.
Awesome.
So we're at the stock room in downtown Raleigh, which I had never been to. And so when I was there, I was like, okay, this is dope. I, used to live in Durham. And so downtown Durham, I was in the warehouse district. It feels like that when you first walk in. They have music playing, right? A great buffet, really showcasing women and women's businesses. And then, I don't know, but like once you walk into a space that's like super well lit and is like has this like dope energy, you start to have these conversations. So literally within like 10, 15 minutes, the room is full of conversation. Women are just rocking and rolling until we get into lunch. And then I'll come up and say a few things, whatever I'm doing. We take them through some activities sometimes. Great networking. For my introverts, they're always like, oh God, please don't make me do a thing. I'm always thinking about my introverts because I'm like right in the middle, right? So I want to make sure everybody feels comfortable. So the activities that we do are safe, they're fun, and people get a lot out of it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to this. Listen, leading boldly looks different for everybody. But as we heard today, it starts with courage, clarity, and a willingness to just take that first step forward. Jes, thank you so much for sharing your insight and the energy and the intention that you bring to these luncheons for the women. And thank you for helping create a space where women across the region can learn, grow, and connect. And thank you for listening to In Good Company with the Greater Raleigh Chamber. Please do not forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss these future conversations where we're spotlighting the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping our region. We'll see you next time.
Hi everyone, I'm Mimi Miller, the Membership Engagement Manager at the Greater Raleigh Chamber, and today to continue the discussion about the Chamber Professional Women's Luncheon, we're going to take you inside the event. We had some staff on site interviewing people about their takeaways from the event. Today, we're going to hear from Jessica Holt of Visit Raleigh, Margaret Wharton of Telepathic Graphics, and Jenna Parks of Triangle Media Partners. Let's hear what they have to say.
So meaningful and invigorating for me to be in a room like this with like-minded women, women business owners, entrepreneurs, and even those just getting their careers started to kind of talk through the challenges and opportunities that we all have as women in the workforce, and just to get to hear other people's stories and kind of help all grow together and take that next step in our careers, no matter if it's just starting out or if we've been in the industry for years.
Really motivating to be in a room with all the women that come to these events, not only the speakers, anyone on the panel, but also the individuals at your table. They come from the beginning of their careers to C-suite, and it's just inspiring and really motivating.
So Triangle Media Partners is the largest lifestyle media agency in the Triangle that is 100% women owned and operated. So being in a room like this full of female entrepreneurs it's emboldening and also inspiring. And it's just fascinating to meet all these women and hear their stories and make some new friends.
These events are great to just meet new people in our community and get to know someone else and maybe learn from what they've already gone through as a woman in the workplace.
I would recommend anybody in their career, any woman, come to this event. I think one of the great things about it is women supporting women. I'm leaving with a meeting. I always leave with a few introductions. And so I just think that this is a group of women who want to see other women thrive. And so the support is there, the introductions are there, the follow-up's there. And just say yes, no matter where you are in your career. You'll find someone in the room or you'll be introduced.
These female networking events are some of my absolute favorites. So don't be shy, join. Bring your business card. I only brought my hi hello today and I'm regretting that. So that's my only tip.
Thanks for listening to In Good Company with the Greater Raleigh Chamber. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with your network. Keep tuning in for more insights on the Chamber's programs, events, and members, and visit raleighchamber.org for info and to register for the Chamber's upcoming events.